Alright, welcome everybody. We are back. It's Zenith Online Racing. We are here for round 12 of Tier 1. We are in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. 15 cars out here. We're on break week next week, so a few guys starting their summer vacation a little early, it would appear. We got Fuzz making his grand return to Tier 1. Stepped down to make room for some other drivers, so get himself a crack out here with the big dogs. Hasn't been out here for a while, so we'll expect some landscaping tonight. As we expect, though, Packer, first guy out on track, first guy in the chat as well. Just enjoys finishing first, much to his girlfriend's detriment. Packer, though, yeah, definitely always one of the first guys out there, looking to make waves early in the qualifying session. Nathan appears to have slept in and missed his wake-up call because he has not made it for the Grand Prix despite checking in as present for the race tonight. So somewhere between that check-in and the race start time, he has vanished. And this is a great opportunity for Packer, Camden, and some of those other guys to close a gap towards the top here. So, Packer going to start his hot lap here, right on board, get that DRS wide open, and barreling down the straight, pretty much the only overtaking spot here. The other DRS owner on the back straight's not too bad, but not great compared to this spot. You see him using a lot of track here, getting on those curves, not bottoming out, so he's able to apply the throttle and carry a lot of momentum up that hill. Doing a very nice job here, using as much track as possible, hardly scraping any speed off to make that car rotate just to the edge of the circuit there. Another inch or two and he'd have been on the grass. Dry weather for quali and the race, thanks to T-Money, the weatherman, meteorologist, and race car driver for ZOR. Much appreciated. So we're looking at a dry run here tonight. We'll see how the tire strategy shapes out. I would imagine soft medium. It is most circuits you're able to do that, but Spain pretty tough on tires from what I recall, so it'll be a tricky one for some of these guys. Packer now making his way through the third and final sector through this very tricky chicane. They fixed the bump there, so you kind of have to take that corner properly now. And here comes Packer across the line, 14.3. So the marker is set early for Packer. Scavney with a 15.7. So he's a fair ways off the time that Packer has set. Beck now just about to finish his lap. He's going to put in a 15.8. So behind Scavney. That's on the mediums, though. So a pretty good lap time from Scavney, but obviously Beck on the mediums, pretty close to him. Sam challenging Scavney for the championship in Tier 2 before they were promoted mid-season, and he's just edged out his rival by a 100th there. Actually, I guess it's a 10th. It's a 10th he's edged him out by. So nice job there from Sam. Camden tucks in behind his teammate, those 7/10ths off, so Packer looks like the early benchmark here after a few laps go up on the timesheet. Fuzz has invalidated his run, so that will not count. 15.3, I think it said, so it's up there if he does keep it on the road. Maverick now on a flyer. Let's ride with Maverick, Season 4 champion for Tier 2, promoted after winning that title, and he's gone off, and he's out! Maverick, wow, jeez. Commentator's curse caught him there. But I was saying, you know, you ride those curbs and you're a little greedy on the throttle with those curbs, this is what happens. So Maverick out of qualifying before he even puts a time on the board. Surely he'll be starting last. Not a terrible place to be starting, though, with only 15 cars. Obviously, no one wants to start last, but only being 15 cars on the track tonight, it's not the end of the world to be there. So Fuzz making his way back in. He's invalidated this run too, so even if he was going to try and make it count, he won't. It won't matter. Doth leaving the pits, it looks like. Jinnit has completed a second lap on these softs, it appears. Slightly improves his time. Must be looking to go on the mediums for his actual quali run, I would imagine, because he seems to be a little off the pace for soft tires here. So he's probably just putting in some bankers. And then we'll slap those mediums on and go for his push run. Yeah, that was pretty rough, man. I feel bad for you. I was gonna give you a nice hot lap too. You'd ride on board for the entirety of your lap, and you put it in the wall. So a little extra salt in the wound there. Now, had you done that when I was looking at somebody else, not as bad, but Felipe just starting his hot lap on the mediums. Let's ride with Felipe. Felipe Massacre, great play on words there. He is an actual Massa fan. Representing the Haas team here. And he's been very quick, Felipe Massacre. Since he showed up in our league, he's been one of the quicker drivers in the grid. I think he's been on the podium every single race, so out on the mediums here early in quali, and he's looking to cement himself at the front of the grid here tonight without Nathan around. Should be able to secure a podium, no doubt, and based on what we've seen, should be pushing Packer for the win, perhaps even ahead. Very close to running wide there, but keeps it on the road, and does a nice job navigating that tricky section. Chicane, very easy to lose a lot of time here. Yeah, just a little early on the throttle, had to pull off. But it looks like he's going to set a pretty solid lap time here on these mediums. Let's see. It's up into third on the mediums, so that's a nice lap. He's ahead of every other medium runner, a few of the soft guys. So good job there from Felipe. Doth here on a run. He's just gone purple through Sector 2, which is probably a lie. Everybody goes purple in Sector 2 in this game. Thanks, Codemasters. Making his way around the final bend, and Doth crosses the line with a 15.1, so up into P3. That's a nice lap time for Doth there. Very competitive. He had a pretty good race last week. I think he finished P5. Scored some nice points for Renault. Gonna be the only guy running in the Renault tonight. Fuzz going for another run, see if he keeps this one alive. Looks like Doth going to give him a little tow here. Oh, Doth pulls over. Doth does not help. Upset with his reserve teammate for the night. Decides not to get in his way or tow him. Riding on board with Fuzz through Sector 3 now, coming up the hill. I wish I knew any of the corner names. They probably don't even have them. The turn numbers at the very least. I rarely ever do my homework for this job. But Fuzz, a bit of a lock up there. It's a little unsettled through the chicane, but ultimately gets on the power nice and early. Is he going to break into the 14s here? He does. 14.9 for Fuzz. So that other time he had set that was invalidated, pretty accurate. He improves on that by 0.2, which is about the average improvement we've seen for most guys on their second run. So Camden on a flyer here. Looks like he's down a 10.5. He made a little bit of a mistake there. See if he can find a little time here through Sector 3. Looks smooth there as they crested up the hill. Very easy to lose the car there. So yeah, he does make up a bit of that time. He's got another whole sector there to find a 10th or 2, and then he can improve that time. Probably get himself away from the other guys behind. Sort of secure a top 3 start if he can find a few more 10s, but he's definitely got time for another run as well, so no massive pressure here. 14.8, so P2, and a few 10ths up on the next soft runner. Felipe, if he goes to soft, could be a threat. Jinnit as well. We know he's going to try a medium run here. It looks like he's up a 2.5 seconds, which would put him right around P4, roughly. Oh, Jeanette. Just a little too early on the throttle there. He heard P4 and he wanted more. And there he goes. Back into the pit lane. He's going to try his run again, so he sort of spoiled his plan here. I don't know if it's worth it to go back out on those mediums. Maybe he has an extra set. I think you only get one set now. So he's gonna have to either do a soft run or use the beat up mediums for his quali run. See how that works out. Keep an eye on him. T-Money has invalidated, it appears. Was on a run, but has slowed right down. Joshua on a run on the medium, so looks like a lot of people opting for the mediums as their starting tire. Joshua getting very loose there coming up the hill. Manages to keep it steady on the curb there, and rarely see a mistake from this driver. Even those little ones like that he'll catch most of the time. So I forgot the Leafs game was on tonight. I didn't even watch it before we started here. I'm going to miss the whole thing now. Go Leafs go. Cheap plug. Joshua into the pits, so not happy with this. I guess he invalidated it there. I missed that somewhere along the line. Thinking about hockey. Sam. On a flyer here on the soft tires. Let's ride with Sam. Oh, he's just got a little bit of dirt or grass on the tire there. Had to lift a tad coming up that hill and just didn't have that full confidence that you'd expect to see. Looks good through Sector 3 so far, though, so maybe makes up a bit of the lost time there. And just heading through the final chicane here, and one long sweeping right-hander spits you out onto the straight where you open up your DRS and cross the line for a 15.3 for Sam. So improves about 3/10. That's not a bad improvement. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for him. Felipe on a run. He's invalidated his run on the softs here, so he's going to have to either come in the pits and go out again or take those tires around for another lap. He's got time for both, I believe, so on board with Beck here is up 2.5 tenths. That would put him roughly P7 at the moment. Maybe P8. Oh, Beck with a big slide out. He's caught it somehow. Unbelievable stuff that he caught that. And then he got a little greedy and nearly did finish the slide off. Managed to catch the second part of it as well. So obviously he's backed out. He's got time for his pit stop and to get out for one more final run. So bad luck from Beck there. Eric in the pits still. Having some car trouble trying to get things sorted. Felipe coming into the pits, so he's not going to go for another run. Scavney is crossing the line for another run. 15.4 he's got right now, so he's just starting his, probably will be his final hot laps, unless this one gets invalidated. No, he has invalidated it, actually. So he's going to have to come into the pits. I think he'll have time. Yeah, he should have time to get back out, Scavney. I would say he's probably the last guy that has a chance to get back out. Everyone on track behind him right now is pretty much done. So Camden on an out lap. Obviously the timing will be better for him when he starts the flyer. We should see everybody else slowly coming out of the pit lane now. Get ready for their final run. So who will be first? Scavney, I guess, invalidated. So he probably has time to pit. Get out for another run, or I mean, he probably at the very least needs fuel, so he should be good. He'll be in the pit lane by 3-minute mark, and a minute turnaround, he still has time to get around. So a minute's a bit of a lengthy turnaround, I feel. Although this game is horrendously slow in the pit box. There's Fuzz crossing the line. Does not improve his time, but I believe that probably was a warm-up run. We'll see. Camden on an out lap. Scavney. Scavney's actually stayed out and gone for it again. They must have enough fuel on board. So stick with Scavney. I think he's our first hot lap to end the session here. I'll stay with him. Purple in Sector 1. Probably a lie, though. At the moment, he's up enough to jump into P5, so that's a nice improvement. See if he can add on to that throughout the rest of the lap here, making his way through Sector 2. Cresting up the hill, gets on that curb, stays on the power nicely, gets it straightened out. A little bit of a step out there, but he told the car to stay put, and it did. 2.5 tenths now, so inching towards P4, but he needs a lot more time to hit that. Needs at least a few more tenths to hit P4, but P5 looks on. Very smooth on the throttle there. Even though he was on the curb, he managed to get the car. Oh, and he's gone wide, actually. So Scavney hasn't validated, and he's not going to have time for another run now. Absolutely not. So he's done. Let's get back to Camden here. Camden up 1.5 tenths. So that's a pretty good improvement. Could definitely lock up P2 here if he can dunk this time on the board. I'm not sure if he's got enough in this final sector to get to Packer, but see what he can do here. It looks really good on the exit there, and should be able to lock down P2 with an improvement here, and that's 14.7. So not a huge improvement, but maybe just enough. Doth on an outlap, he'll be looking to challenge that. Sam on an outlap, and Felipe on a push lap. He's up about 4 tenths here, and that would put him just ahead of Doth. So Camden might just edge out Felipe here. See if Felipe can find himself any time here. If he does manage to invalidate this in the final few corners, he has enough time to go for another push lap. Does he have enough battery for it? That's the question. Looking pretty smooth here, so he should find a lot of time there on the softs compared to his medium lap. I'd imagine he'll be up. See if he can get Camden here. Does he nip him? He does by 3 tenths. So Camden drops behind Felipe for the time being. Doth on a flyer here in P4, pushing for Fuzz actually is right behind Doth. Doth here pushing though. He's up 2 tenths. That could be enough to get Camden as well. And I think Camden is done. So if Doth can maintain this pace through the lap, he'll jump to P3 for a start. That would probably be one of his best qualifyings of the season. Sam runs very wide there, taking out some advertising boards. And Doth looking really good here. Everyone keeps picking up gravel there on that entry into the corner. Big lockup, and he's still up 2.5 tenths, so that would put him just ahead of Camden. Scavney has retired from the session, so yeah, I ran out of time. Stick with Doth here as he wraps his lap up. What can he do? Any timing movement yet? Not much. Oh, that's a terrible place for Ryan to be stopped. Ryan disqualified from the session. Not sure what happened there, but Doth shortens the track and does not improve his time. Wow. He was up all sector or the whole lap and did not improve in the end. Sam diving into the pits. He is done. Beck on a flyer here. Dernia looks like he's on a flyer, just cresting over the hill here as well. So let's stick with Dernia. We know Packer's on pole provisionally. Doesn't really need to improve his time, but he is on a run. Felipe done. Stick with Dernia for the time being. I believe Packer is, it could be Camden just behind, but I believe Packer is just behind. Dernia rounding the final corner. Can he jump into the top 10? He's just on 10th right now. Great improvement from Dernia up into P4. Really nice lap time for him. So his qualifying pace is starting to come on. He's been getting better and better as the season progresses. Beck out of time here. Packer has invalidated. He's done. And that is it for quali, I believe. Beck is done as well. Yeah, that's it. So qualifying over. It'll be Packer on pole. Felipe takes P2. Camden, did Camden hang on to P3? He did. So Camden P3. Dernia P4. Just barely P4. Dernia nearly got Camden there. Camden is definitely sweating after that. Doth should have got Camden as well, but he just seemed to have lost it in the third sector. Fuzz P6, good qualifying for him. Nice return for him, right with his teammate there. Joshua P7, Sam P8, Scavney P9, and Beck rounds out the top 10. So Beck starting on the mediums in 10th. Eric, T-Money, Jinnit, Maverick, and Ryan, who was disqualified, will actually start behind Maverick, who crashed. So Maverick gets a freebie back. And he'll be starting an extra spot up the grid. So all those guys outside the top 10, I imagine, starting mediums or hards here. That would be my guess if I had to put money on it. I wouldn't start on the softs outside the top 10 here. Everybody else in the top 10 besides Beck, though, starting on the soft tires. So we'll see how that pans out. So Felipe and Camden have readied. I would imagine Felipe had to be the one there that readied up early. Usually we have a bit of a break here between the sessions, and looks like someone's readied up early. So Felipe perhaps carrying a 10-second penalty off the hop there. Camden, the other check mark. I'd imagine he clicked that to see who had hit ready, because Doth is your race director tonight, so he should have been giving the go as to when everybody should ready up. Just a rule we've implemented there to give everybody a chance to refill their beverages, especially the commentator, and also for the drivers, do use the washroom quickly, have a smoke, whatever you're into. I mean, most people are into using the washroom because they need to. Anyways, no sense in trailing off here. Let's check the tires. That's what happens when I do this alone. There's no one there to keep me on track. I just wander freely through my thoughts. Get this chat back up. So, yeah, Beck, Eric, T-Money, Jinnit. Jinnit hards, actually, and then Maverick and Ryan, all mediums. So those guys going for the long con, especially Jinnit. He's going to try to go to the end and probably slap a set of softs on at the end of the race. Jinnit usually pretty solid on the race strategies, tire management, etc. So, man, that is a quick formation lap. Holy crap. We are pretty much ready to go racing here. We got the entire grid coming around the final corner now, and everybody going to slot in to their spots. Maverick P14, Ryan P15. Maverick with that incident in quali manages to get a place back out of it. And Packer assumes the position, pole position. We have 15 cars here for round 12 of Zenith Online Racing. This is Tier 1. I'm Arbiga. We're going to get the lights fired up in Spain here, and we're going to go racing. We got 3, 4, 5 lights are on, and we're racing. That was very fast. Packer off to a very good start. Felipe gets a nice start. A little bit of wheel spin there, but getting a really nice slipstream down the straight here into turn 1. Packer's going to have to cover that off. Here comes Felipe going for the lead into turn 1, side by side. Oh, there's a bit of contact, but Packer squeezes it and manages to keep the place. And Camden's been picked off by Dernier here on the start. So rough start for Camden. Packer makes a really nice defensive move to save that place. Felipe nearly got him there, just a little bit of a nudge. And Camden now sending it, trying to get back in front of Dernier here. Dernier with a huge lockup. Camden all over the gearbox here, trying to get by Dernier. And behind, we've got Fuzz making a move, it looks like. Or Doth on Joshua, perhaps? Yeah, I think it was Doth. Fuzz is actually ahead of Doth already. So Doth jumps in front of Joshua there. Nice little move from him. It's a tricky place on the first lap. We could see an incident at the back here with cold tires. Everybody looks okay. That's nice to see. And Eric looking to make a move here on Scavney. He's very close to the gearbox of Scavney. Get back to the front of the field in a moment. Let's check on these battles back here. Everybody looks to be sort of holding place for now. I imagine once we get the DRS, we'll see a little bit of jumping around. But Felipe, Dernier, the top 3, Camden trying to reel Dernier back in, get that place back here. order is completely messed up here. All right, Packer stretching his legs just a tad at the front here. Felipe trying to hang on. Dernia trailing off the front two a little bit. That's going to hurt Camden. So as soon as that DRS is activated, Camden's going to want to be pushing to get through here. Eric looks like he's making a move back here on Sam. He's very close. He's within striking distance, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move yet, so we should have DRS on the next time around. We're just starting lap 3 now. We should see a bit of action here with some of these cars that are running closer together. We got Maverick applying some pressure to Beck here as they come up the hill. Beck runs a little bit wide. It's going to cost him a little bit of grip. Maverick close enough to take a lunge here, but yeah, it just gets really nice on the throttle and alongside, doing a really good job. They're wheel to wheel, Beck and Maverick here. And we got Jinnit and Ryan taking a sniff as well behind. And looks like Maverick is through for now on. Beck, oh, there's a spin for Ryan. He's gone round. Somehow it was not collected by T-Money. Very good luck there on T-Money's part. But here comes Jinnit now, capitalizing on the mistake from Beck there, and he's gotten through. So Ryan off to a rough start here, down in 15th, and he's lost about 6 seconds, which isn't too bad considering he was facing the wrong direction there. But here comes Felipe with that DRS, sends it on Packer. He said he wanted to beat Packer by the end of the season. I think he actually might have said he wanted to beat Nathan by the end of the season, but he's got one of them on the ropes right now. We'll see if Felipe can keep Packer behind him after making that pass on lap 3 into lap 4. Got a long way to go here, and we'll see who bites first on the strategy. It could be very tight. Fuzz and Doth going wheel to wheel here. Doth around the outside with a nice sweeping move, gets the place. Nice job from him. Fuzz under pressure now from Joshua as well. Fuzz and Joshua really hanging on to Doth here. DRS helping down that short little straight. Keep that gap nice and small. See if Joshua's close enough to take a stab at Fuzz here down the main straight. We got a yellow flag in Sector 2. I believe that is Beck, who's spun at the back on the fresh hards. Not looking good for Beck early in the Grand Prix here. Did not need a spin after pitting early. So nobody really at the front close enough to take a look. Fuzz taking a look at Doth, but he's actually left Joshua behind a little bit here. So Fuzz finding his feet a bit more. And if he can break the DRS behind, he can actually, him and Doth can tow each other away up the road. Let's see if that happens, but right now we got quite the scrap going on for the race victory here. Felipe in the lead. He's got Packer in tow, and Dernia and Camden closing in as well. So the top 4 all within a second of each other. We're going to stick with this battle for the next little while until it spaces out a bit, because the action is irresistible up here. And it's for the big points. That's what we want to see. Eric applying some pressure to Sam there. Down in P9 and 10. Eric trying to use those mediums. Start working his way up the field. Beck has retired from the race in the pit lane, so we're down to 14 cars here early in the Grand Prix. Lap 5, Beck has called it quits. Obviously not having a very good night out here so far. Perhaps frustration taking hold. A big lockup for Dernia there. That's actually going to help Camden quite a bit. See Camden right on the tail of Dernier here. Not quite close enough to make a move yet, but he is closing. Just looks really good in those braking zones. Camden, yeah, just inching ever closer to Dernier. So maybe Dernier did a little more damage on these softs than Camden has so far. Just looking a little tentative. Camden with a bit of a bobble there, loses a bit of time. Got Dernier trying to hang on to Packer, who's actually starting to lose touch with Felipe a little bit here. So Packer going to be threatened from the guys behind, and he's starting to lose DRS. So he's going to be in a bit of trouble here with Dernier on his tail. See if he's got the pace to defend it even without DRS. See how this shakes out. Camden very close to Dernier. Dernier close to Packer. Comes the DRS, so both guys going to gain a lot on Packer, but Packer has enough of a cushion here, I think, to cover this off for the time being. Check in with Joshua and Fuzz behind. Joshua closing. Oh, we have a safety car. What has happened here? What on earth has gone on here? So these guys at the back have gotten a free pit stop. Very lucky guys. Sam, Janet, all these guys have dove into the pits under the safety car, and I'm not even entirely sure why we have one. There's nobody out. Everybody's still on track. We got front wing damage for Janet, though, so perhaps a safety car due to debris on track. That's odd. That is going to hurt the front runners for sure. The guys in the back, Janet with a fresh set of mediums. I don't think he's getting to the end on those, but now, so the safety car is where right now? It's in Sector 1. Looks like Janet and Ryan just passing it now. So they're going to have to get on the gas if they want to try and catch those front runners. Who'll still be under Delta time for the time being, I believe. Safety car well up the road waiting for them, so Felipe pits, Packer pits. I mean, the entire field needs to pit here, I would think. Oh, Packer nearly into the back of Felipe there. Definitely gained a bit of time on him. So, yeah, pretty much everyone diving in here. Does anyone stay out? Eric is staying out, it appears. The entire field is pit otherwise. Felipe gets out just in front of Packer there. Nearly was held in his pit box, but does get out just in time. Yeah, so the rest of the runners that pit already didn't gain a huge advantage because the safety car hadn't picked up the leaders yet. So pretty much the entire field is pit except for Eric, who will take the lead in the medium tires. 7-lap-old mediums. He's going to be struggling for pace, but guys like Felipe, Packer, and Dernier on these fresh hards are going to be struggling for temperatures for the first lap or two. Should see Eric maintain his temps a bit better in those mediums. So I would expect to see Eric maybe take off at first, but get reeled in quite quickly. And I guess if he gets another safety car, then he's okay. But he's ultimately looking, I think some of these guys, that have, unless you pit to the hards, I don't think you're getting to the end of the race now. So sort of compromises your position a little bit here. I don't know about the mediums, yeah. I mean, they're probably guys that are on fresh mediums going. I don't think they're getting to the end. Scavney, Sam, Janet. I highly doubt these guys are getting to the end. We'll see how it pans out for them, but I'd say the hard runners got a good shot of making it. The medium guys probably got to stop again, but maybe banking on another safety car. To be fair, we've already had one that doesn't make any sense at all, so a very good chance we could see another. Still got 24 laps to go here. So fair distance still. The hard runners will be running out of tire life by then for sure. The medium guys I don't think are going to make it 24 laps. Safety car leading the bunch. See if you guys weave in to get some temperature. Some guys not so much. I just don't want to take any life out of the tires until near the end of the lap. Doth isn't really moving much, just putting a little bit of movement through those tires. Doesn't want to scrub them too much. He's definitely thinking about the long term here. What you don't want to do, though, is have cold tires on the restart because you can easily lose it around that final corner. I'd imagine safety car in this lap. Should see the notification at the end of this straight. Still no, eh? Okay, it is. Okay, there we go. Alright, so Eric will take over the front of the field here. He'll be leading the pace for the guys behind. He's a little bit close to the safety car at the time being. Needs to let that car really get away before he goes anywhere. And we'll keep an eye on the guys behind, see if any of them are close to Eric, how his jump is compared to them. Felipe right on his tail. Eric just trundling along, taking his sweet old time here. Has every right to maintain the pace as long as he feels. Oh, he started going, but he's bobbled it. Bit of a bobble there, and that's actually given Packer a really nice run on Felipe here. Here comes Packer on the safety car restart, gets by. So Packer into P2 on the restart. Great restart from him. Felipe going to send it down the inside, though, is not giving up that easily. There's still wheel to wheel there. Oh, no, they've touched. Oh, big contact between those two, and now he's been sandwiched between Dernia and Packer. It looked a lot like the first lap there. It looked like Packer, Felipe didn't want to yield any space to Packer, you know, sort of to pay back that first lap. And late send from Felipe, that was ill-advised, but managed to get it stopped in time. Dernia turned in there. That would have been a bad incident for both drivers. Determined to go get that place back, though. Yeah, Felipe, Packer, neither guy giving each other an inch there, and you saw what happened. Nearly a massive collision, and they nearly collected Dernia. Very lucky that all drivers are on track still. Oh, late send! That was horrendous. That was absolutely horrendous from Felipe. I honestly have no idea what he was thinking there. And now he seems to be I mean, I was going to say he's throwing a tantrum here. You can see the way he's driving, you know, that dive bomb on Dernia. That's really disappointing to see because he's been a really good driver for us so far, and he's clearly just lost himself on track here. A horrible, horrible, ill-advised attempt at an overtake on Camden. Has broken his wing, gone off the track, spun around in donuts on purpose, and then retired on track. So that pretty much sums it up, and I think you kind of get the point of what I'm saying here. It's I get being frustrated and everything, but that's just poor sportsmanship. I don't think sorry, it was a dive on Packer, was it not? I might have said Camden, but yeah, if you see Packer's front wing is actually damaged from that as well. So Packer's missing his front wing from that move. You don't see a lot of that out here in ZOR. Most guys pretty good, but yeah, that was just it was too obvious. The dive bombs, you know. Just the behavior. I don't think Packer did anything wrong there. He had every right to, you know, in my opinion, Felipe was putting Packer in a position on the outside of the circuit there where Packer had to force his way back on. I think it's all fair there. I mean, Packer is either going to crash or, you know, someone has to yield, and you're running a guy off the road like that, he's going to try and come back on, or you got to expect there to be some contact if you're not willing to give up any room here. So, nice move there from Scabney. Gets by Doth. Saw that from the heli cam. But yeah, move on from that incident. We'll let the stewards handle it. That's just my take on what I saw, and it's disappointing to see because I didn't really expect that kind of behavior from Felipe. Been a really, really good addition to the group so far, and it's a shame to see something like that tonight. Packer's got to be steaming. He's losing ground to Eric on old tires. Or maybe not losing ground, but he's certainly not gaining as much as he should be. And he's got Durnia right on his tail now, so Durnia going to reap the benefits here. Although he does have a time penalty. Camden also very close. Let's get to the front of the field here and keep an eye on this scrap. So Packer in the net lead of the race with pit stops. Now carrying front wing damage from that move from Felipe. And oh, thanks Denmark, appreciate that. Hope you're doing well too, my friend. That move from Felipe though damaged Packer's wing, and now he's really under pressure from Durnia, Camden, Scavney, Doth. Like they've got quite a train forming here. The entire field basically hanging on to Packer now. He's in big trouble with a very long way to go on those hards. I'd imagine at some point he's going to pit and get onto a better set of tires. Just super unfortunate how that happened. There was absolutely no need for that. And now Packer's race pretty much ruined because of that, I would say. Although he does recover from these things nicely, though, like, you know, like, it's one thing to make a mistake, you know? You make a mistake and you take a piece of your wing off, but for someone else to do that to you out of frustration, that's super disappointing. I'd be really upset if I was Packer. But he's doing a nice job there, hanging in there, keeping his head, driving the best he can. And that's the kind of stuff that makes you a champion. That's why he won it last season. And that's why he's in the hunt this year. You know, exceptional driving skills. And things like this do happen, and Packer just needs to minimize the damage and try to score as many points as he can. So, see how he does here. If he can shake the guys behind and break the DRS, he probably has a good shot of hanging on to that podium. Definitely possibly the win here. And so we got quite the crew forming behind, and these guys are not going to make it. They're not going to feel any sympathy for Packer here. There's no love lost in racing. So Camden and Scavney, Durnia, they're going to be looking to apply the pressure. Doth licking his chops back here as well. Going to hopefully get some scraps. And Joshua hanging on to the pack as well. Comes Scavney looking to make a move on Camden here. Camden cannot afford to lose another place here. Oh, Scavney thinks better of it though. It was on for Scavney there. Definitely could have sent that, I feel, but probably didn't want to force it. So nice move there from Camden to cover that off. Nice defense there. And Durnia really applying the pressure to Packer here. He's in big trouble. Keeps locking up as well. It just does not have the grip into the apex to get the car turned. And he's really relying on the grip of the tires here to get his car turned around the corners and into the braking zone. So Alright, Scavney very close to another overtake here. Eric finally pits, so that's going to release the front runners, although they weren't particularly on his tail, so that's worked out okay for Eric. He's going to the hard tires, so he'll have much fresher tires than the rest of these guys. But Scavney now taking another crack at Camden here. Scavney on the fresher tires looking pretty good. Sorry, on the softer tires, the mediums looking pretty solid. But we know that pace is going to fall off sooner than later. And should see Camden and Dernia really start to push Packer here, because Packer is just going to keep losing more and more tire grip as he has to keep battling that lack of downforce. Really good race, though. I mean, we've got the whole top 10 basically within striking distance of each other. So, to make, to be fair, it's the top 11 even. So, safety cars completely changed the scope of the race. See Dernia closing. It seems like Packer just seems to get a good enough run out of that final corner that he's able to cover these guys off. Well, Dernia's close. He sends it. Dernia, he makes contact with Packer. I would say the gap was sort of evaporating there for Dernia, and he just hoped that Packer would give him more room, but Packer didn't have to, and that was all fair in my opinion. You can see, though, Dernia just getting tantalizingly close to completing this overtake. He just has more grip, and Packer's struggling to keep the car in the right line. Dernia really attacking now. Fighting tooth and nail. Packer doing everything he can to keep this car behind. Really, his best bet, if he's going to pit to get that wing fixed, his best bet is to just keep bunching these guys up into each other and let them all squabble while you're chasing them down from the back. So ultimately, the longer you can hold these guys up, the better. I think once he starts to lose a few places, he should just dive in the pits and start chasing the field down from there. You can easily get a set of mediums to the end at this stage, so imagine that's what he's aiming for. Gonna stay out for now, keep pushing, see if he can keep Dernia at bay. Dernia a little closer this time around, though. See if he can take a crack again. It's turn one. You see Dernia closing super fast here with Packer without that DRS is not able to fight it. The big lock up there, and he just has to yield that place. So Dernia gets by. Camden is next. Will Packer have any love lost for his teammate here? Probably not. But imagine they're fighting for the championship here. There's probably not going to be much assistance from Packer. So another bad luck night for Packer. Didn't really do anything wrong. Camden with that dive bomb. Saw the lockup coming from Packer, and Camden sends it down the inside, keeps the car on a nice tight line, and gets that place. So, looked like a dive bomb, but knowing the circumstances, Camden, I think, knew he was going to get that done in a nice, smooth way. That looked really good. It was a nice, aggressive overtake, and it was clean. So, good job from him. Scavney now making a move as well. So, Packer just sliding down the order here. His tires really falling off. I have to put all that extra temperature through them without that wing. Surely going to think about pitting here. Watch these guys stretch their legs out front. He needs to do something to try and fight it back. And he stays out again. So I don't know where it ends, though. Everybody else is super close, so you got to figure if he stays out, he's just going to keep losing ground at this stage, right? All these guys are not really falling away from him. And there it goes. I believe Scavney is through. Yes, a bit of a bad camera angle there, but Scavney through. So Packer loses another place. Doth now up next. See if he can get by. And you see the gap there to Maverick a little bit bigger. Perhaps Packer has the pace to stay in front of Maverick. I don't know if that's maybe what he's looking at, but it's just going to be under threat, and he's going to keep losing DRS to the guys in front of him. Maybe just trying to stretch it out for some softs and try and make up even more ground. Tough to say at this point. Doth under pressure a little bit from Joshua as well, though, so that might help Packer delay his pit window a little bit more. Doth having to look in his mirrors a little bit, not really focused as much on the road ahead. Packer does go into the pits. Very late move across the line there, but Packer pits, so definitely going for mediums, I would think, to the end of the Grand Prix here. Needed to do something. He just had no pace compared to the other guys, unfortunately, and that incident with Felipe is very costly. You know, really no fault of Packers at all. Packer, I think, did everything he could and was driving clean and fair, and he was driving tough, and, you know, he didn't do anything dirty, in my opinion, and just victimized by someone who's taking out their frustrations, which is extremely unfortunate to see here. And that's not something that will go unnoticed by the admin team either, so it's definitely not behavior that's tolerated. I'm sure he'll be getting a talking to after the Grand Prix. Camden, now in a really good spot, though. He sees Packer's had to pit and gone to the very back of the field, so Packer literally has the entire field to overtake now. Camden can get by Dernier here. He's in a great place to win this Grand Prix. And Scabney looking really strong here as well. I'm not sure if Scabney needs to pit again. He might just try to stay out on these mediums, but on those medium tires, he's got the pace of the front runners at the moment, so Scabney potentially looking at a podium here if he can stretch these mediums out and keep Doth at bay. Camden taking a look, bit of an odd line, but just trying to get Dernier a little nervous there. Make him think a bit too much. Savvy old Camden looking for another victory here in ZOR. It's been a while. He's been on the podium a few times, but hasn't won a race in quite some time, so I'm sure he'd be loving to add another to his tally here, given the unfortunate circumstances. A lot of the fastest guys that we've got now, Felipe, Packer in the race, but at the back. Nathan didn't show up. Killer Blue is out, so Camden, you know, fighting with those guys every week. He's pretty much every one of them is out of the way. He's got to capitalize here, try and get that victory. See if he can maximize that points haul, get himself right back in the hunt. We got Dernier looking for his next victory here in ZOR. He's won a few as well. Been on the podium a couple times this year too, so a lot at stake for these two drivers. Scabney, bit of a different strategy, so we're not sure if this is a true place for him. Well, he's probably going to lose some pace here in the next few laps. But Doth as well, and Joshua, Maverick, all taking a sniff at the podium here tonight. So Jenna too, and Fuzz, everybody really in play. Great camera angle. Riding on the right shoulder of Camden. Just see him hunting down Dernier, and really Scabney has actually started to apply the pressure quite heavily at the front here. So could even see Scabney get ahead of these guys in a moment if he keeps this up. Doesn't really seem to lose much pace in those mediums at the time being. It looks pretty good still. Jinnit also still applying pressure to Maverick on the hards, so imagine Matt gonna here. Apologies. Just had to step away for a moment. Just making our way back to the main straight here. So Camden, not quite close enough for an overtake. We'll see it through the field if anyone else is. Jinnit looks like he's poised for one. Scabney in striking distance, not close enough though. Let's get back to Jinnit, who's all over the back of Maverick here. See if Jinnit can get by Maverick. He's tucked in behind, but no, he just sticks behind and follows him through, so not on this run. Get back to the front here. Dernier, Camden, and Scabney. Scabney having a nice race here, though. If he can hang on to a top 5 finish here in Tier 1, you'd be really happy with that after moving up from Tier 2 this season. During the season, I guess. Refreshing the beverage. Not a great camera angle. There we go, that's a bit better. Camden. Trying to get another victory. Something happened here. Joshua slid down the order. He's had a moment. He's off. And a penalty for corner cutting on top of that. Now dives into the pits, so he's got wing damage perhaps. Was there contact with another driver? Not entirely sure. I don't see anybody else with any issues at the moment. Everything looks okay. I don't see any damage on the other driver, so maybe just could have even just been put in an odd position and lost the car. Hard to say. Bit of a weird place for him to be off the road, though, so a little perplexed by that one. Zenith now chasing down Maverick again, closing in, see if he can make a move. There's got to be those mediums that are starting to fall off of it, because Scabney isn't really hounding the two front guys as much either anymore. You see a lot of graining on that front left, so looks like the mediums actually sort of just starting to fall off a bit here. Scabney nearly out of DRS range here, and Camden as well, so Dernia doing a nice job here actually. We do have penalties though. Let's check in on with them. 3 seconds for Dernia, so Camden doesn't need to overtake him at the moment. Maverick has 3, Zenith has 6, T-Money has 9, Eric, Packer, Sam, Joshua all with 3. So Camden for now is okay, doesn't have to do anything desperate, but just needs to keep it on the track really, and maybe just harvesting a bit of battery to save up for an overtake here. Zenith and Fuzz right on the tail at Maverick back there as well. To a better angle here. Looks like Camden just looking for an alternate line here. Yeah, Camden is lining up this overtake. He is within 2/10 already, and we haven't even hit DRS. Dernia, you can see reacting, knows he's in trouble here. Camden absolutely nailed that. It looks like he saved up enough juice to get the move done. He is well clear. Camden into the lead of the Grand Prix. Dernia slots into P2. See how Camden does here, securing this position. Can he break away now? Been stuck there for quite some time. We got Packer back into the points, going to make a move on T-Money here. Sends it down the inside with the DRS. Should get the place done. He does. Zenith has come out on soft, so yeah, we figure those guys on mediums need to pit again. Joshua pits. Zenith has pit for softs. Scabney probably going to stay out, though. Maybe try to get these things to the end. He'll probably lose a few places, though. So I don't know how much it'll be worth it. Dernia just dancing around in the mirror of Camden a little bit, making him think about it. Say that like everybody checks their mirrors in this game. I don't think anybody does. All right, see if Dernia has enough juice in the tank to fight back at Camden here. He's closing fast. He's got that DRS wide open. Got that nice broadcast shot. Camden just parking it on the line, trying to cover that off, and he stays on the racing line to try and get maximum grip through this corner. Oh, they touch! Oh, Dernia's off! Oh, and there goes Scabney through! Wow, both drivers bobbled, and Scabney just shot right between both of them. That was absolute balls of steel from Scabney. Both drivers in the middle of a moment, and Scabney jumps in and says, thank you, I'll take that place. Doth as well trying to capitalize on this. So Dernia, I don't really know what happened there. Dernia and Camden just sort of touched wheels, and both drivers ended up a little shook from it. I would say both lost a fairly equal amount of time, and I don't think really either driver is to blame there, so it'll probably just go down as a racing incident, not really going to be looked at, but that has gone into a huge benefit for Mr. Scavney, who is now in the race lead on mediums. And, oh man, I don't know, like, I guess if you're Scavney, you just stay out at this point now. He's surely going to get picked off on the straight here, though. He's not going to have enough pace to fight these guys. Camden under pressure here from Doth, and Scavney about to be overtaken by Dernia. So Dernia's going to go back into the lead here. Camden. So Camden's sort of the loser on that end, even though I think he did, from what I saw with the naked eye there in the moment, it looked like Camden really didn't do anything and kind of just got bumped into. So for him to go down to P4 now, has he lost a bit of his wing or something? I'm not sure. But for him to go down to P4 now after that, that's really unfortunate, because I think he probably deserves to be in the lead still. Again, though, both drivers sort of equally shaken there, so hard to say that really either guy should be any place. That's a tricky call. Would not want to be the steward in that one. I would just say, I mean, because Scavney got in front of them, it sort of just messed up the flow of things, right? Whereas Camden sort of has lost out now and didn't really do anything wrong. He's just got picked off by the circumstances. So now he's got some work to do, and Dernia's going to potentially scamper off out front. Scavney doing a nice job to keep these tires alive. I think he's going to get these to the end at this stage. There's only 4 laps to go. He's pretty much got to go to the end now. So Scavney trying to hang on to that podium place. Dernia does have a time penalty, actually, so the 3 cars behind him will actually all gain on him. Oh, there goes Scavney! Scavney's off. Has he got a puncture? He does. That front left is punctured. You can see it. Has he dropped the back tire in the gravel? He has, and he can't get it going. Scavney's out. Scavney has dropped the back tires in the gravel, and he cannot get the car going. Wow, that is... You know what? It's got to be the puncture as well. It's not allowing him to get off the track here, so... Scavney's disqualified. Wow. Insane stuff from there. Man, that is nuts. So Scavney gone. The puncture put him into the gravel, and then his rear tires were stuck in the gravel trap, and he couldn't get going. So Scavney done. That's terrible luck. He was trying to get those medium to the end, and it was ill-advised. I said it from the get-go. I didn't think he was going to get a puncture this early, but I figured it wouldn't go to the end. And that's brought Maverick into a potential podium position here, although Maverick does have time penalties as well. 6 seconds, so he's going to slide down quite a bit. Dernia, though, will lose out to Doth, Camden, and Maverick at this stage. Well, not Maverick because of time penalties. Perhaps Fuzz, though. So we could see Fuzz on the podium even. This is going to be a really interesting finish. Dernia's got some work to do here. I know Doth trying to fight for that P2. He's trying to hold off Camden and Maverick behind. This will be a great result for Doth on P2. I haven't heard his lovely voice in the booth for quite some time. It'll be an interesting podium tonight. Packer's made his way back to P7, so minimizing some of that damage. He's got to be absolutely steamed with what's happened here tonight, though. Can't blame him. I don't think he had much of a choice but to pit there, to be honest, either. He was just losing too much time. His tires would have never lasted. It's one thing to ask, you know, 70%, 60% on the tire life, but if they're overheating constantly too, they're just going to burst at some point. Alright, well, if we look at the order here, we got Dernia, Doth, Camden, Maverick, Fuzz, all very close together. We have 2.5 laps to go here. And there's not much going on through the rest of the field that I need to keep the timing on the screen or the map. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you some nice, solid, clean racing action here to end the Grand Prix. We're going to stick well on the broadcast view of Fuzz, and we'll take all this stuff off the screen, and let's watch the battle to the end of the race here. And the crowd goes wild. They love when I do this. They always cheer when I take the stuff off the screen. So Fuzz applying some pressure to Maverick here, trying to find a way through. We got Camden just ahead of them, and Doth in P2, and Dernier looking like he's going to finish on track in P1 for the time being, but with that time penalty, he's probably going to drop right off the podium. You can see Fuzz on the podium. There's some, whoa, bit of contact there. Camden making a bit of a cheeky move there on Maverick, and, oh, he's dove into the pits now, Camden. Oh, he's got a puncture. So Camden with a puncture now. So the hard's even not lasting. That has got to be very nerve-wracking for some of these hard runners. Wow, Camden with a puncture. I cannot believe his luck. Oh, it was right there on a platter for him. Easy podium. And the tire gives out on him with 1 lap to go. That is awful, awful luck. And sort of messed all the gaps up here. The racing is not as close as we had hoped, so... You know, Fuzz... I think Dernier's going to keep a podium here, but Doth is going to win this Grand Prix, I believe. As long as he stays within 3 seconds, Doth is going to win this thing. Just stay with Doth for now. Let's see this this time battle. He's not close enough to get DRS from Dernier, but he's close enough to win the Grand Prix. Dernier has 1 lap left to build up a 3-second gap on Doth. And this is for the victory here. It's the final lap. Doth going to try to get every little bit of help he can with that slipstream. Just a bit of toe down the straight, not too much. But should help him stay close. Dernier's going to be giving it full juice in the front, trying to get that gap up to 3 seconds here. Maverick has 6 seconds of penalty, so he's going to slide down the order. We can see a Doth victory, Dernier P2 or 3, and Fuzz on the podium here. That's going to be a very interesting podium for sure. Ryan's actually done a fantastic job after that spin. It's up into P5 now. He's ahead of Packer. No penalties. Packer with a time penalty, so even if Packer does get by on this lap, probably isn't going to keep that place. Doth with a bit of a moment there, though. That's going to cost him. That cost him about 3 or 4 tenths there. It's down to the nitty-gritty now. Can Dernier find a second in Sector 3? Can Doth keep it steady and bring it home for the victory? He's tantalizingly close. There's a second in it now. Ooh, it's so close. There's only a second there. Dernier rounding the final corner. Doth rounding the final corner. It looks like victory for Doth, pending some blowout on the final turn here. Dernier crosses the line in first. Doth is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. Dernier takes P2. Maverick goes P4. Fuzz on the podium. What a great drive from Fuzz there. Fuzz P3, Ryan P4. Maverick takes P5. Packer recovers to P6. Jinnett P7. Camden P8 after that puncture. Terrible luck for Camden. He's got to be really frustrated with that. And yeah, you can see. You know what, though? At least he got a couple points out of it. That's just so annoying, though. He was going to gain such a nice haul on all the other guys he was fighting, and only comes away with 4 points. Eric in P9 nearly missed qualifying. He made it, actually. Picks up 2 points, and then P10. I missed who was P10. Pretty exciting race, though. Not bad for a smaller grid. 15 guys out there tonight. Overall, though, pretty solid race from everybody, and definitely some forgettable moments for a few drivers, and Doth has to be absolutely pumped right now. That has been literally like a season and a half in the making since he's been on the top step of the podium. Dropped all the assists, and he's finally back there. Gets a legit win. He's got to be absolutely fired up with that. And then we got Dernier with a great result in P2. That penalty hurt him. Excellent drive. They'll finish his first on track and slides into P2 with the penalties. P10 was Joshua, so snags a point. Then we got T-Money, Sam, Felipe, Beck, and Scabney. The rest of the field down at the bottom there. Did not finish. But Doth, Dernier, and Fuzz, your podium. Wow, what a night. And Maverick takes a nice P5, so another really good result for Maverick there. Ryan Maverick, drivers of the day with those results, 14, 15, up to P4 and 5. Jinnit with a nice drive, too, from 13 to 7. Did a two-stopper and still got P7, so I'd say that's a pretty good drive from Jinnit as well. And a lot of penalties, too, and he's done nicely there. So bad luck for Camden. Easily could have been on the podium. Finishes P8 after a puncture, and then Eric and Joshua round out the top 10. Let's get these three in for an interview. This is going to be a spicy interview. Stick around. I hope Doth does another shoey in his bathtub with his Captain America uniform on. Invites are out. There'll be a podium interview for the ages. That'll be talked about for seasons to come.
Hi.
I can just feel it bubbling. I feel it bubbling. Oh man, you guys must be so happy right now, honestly.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I'm still shaking. I'm still sweating. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was nuts.
and we were in a party together too. So like,
Yeah.
we're like, wait a minute, like I think it was like lap 30 when we're like, we both might be on for a podium. We're like, oh shit.
Yeah, and then Beck was in the party. He said, "You're only 2.7 behind Donia," and he has a 3 second. I was like, "Shit, we might just get a 1-2 if we can stay together,
Yeah, it was close.
stay tight enough."
Um,
Oh my God.
yeah, someone posted the Nico meme of is Puff's career over? After that, yeah, Fuzz shows up and gets a podium as a reserve driver. Oh man, rough week for Puff. You know, the ZIA had no quarrel suspending him, so.
Yeah.
Guess we're just waiting for Dernier. Did he join yet?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Let's get it going. Podium interviews. We got Doth in P1, Dernier P2, and Fuzz in P3. So we'll start with Doth. It's been a long time in the making, my friend. It's been ages since I've even heard your voice in here, let alone on the top step. I mean, how are you feeling after that one?
It feels great, man. I was hoping for a good result tonight, but I did not think a win could have been in the cards here. But you know, sometimes if you just kind of keep it on track, and I had a good race set up, and I just kind of let the chips fall as they may, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, here I am. And you know, and then I guess the other part of it too was like I think I like permanently damaged the grip in my wheel. I was grabbing it so hard for the last few laps because I had 2 warnings on lap 10.
Oh.
So I did the last 23 laps without getting a warning.
Oh man, that was clutch.
Like, yeah, and ended up being the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I think on raw pace, Dernier had you a little bit
Yeah,
there,
he did.
but
Yeah, he did.
that penalty hurt him. So, but I mean, yeah, excellent pace. I mean, even qualifying, you looked like one of the quicker guys out there. So obviously, podium was probably in the cards right from the get-go this evening. But to actually like finish it off and not only get a podium but nab a win, I mean, that's got to be such a great feeling after what's been ages with no assists now. So I mean, that's
no, it's been it's great. It's my first W of the season. Really only my second one on this game, actually.
Yeah, I think you
So
won
I will
Monaco
take it.
once, and That was
Yep.
it, right? Like without assists, you've been
Montreal last year.
okay.
Yep. So.
But yeah, great result.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Dernia. Obviously, another great drive for you. You're back on the podium again. That penalty hurt you. It was easily would have been a victory without that 3-second penalty. So it's just something that sort of. I mean, it's been a really good season for you, but if there's anything holding you back a little bit, it's got to be those time penalties because they've hurt you a couple times now. I think we've been in a good spot and lost even a podium or two just because of time penalties and whatnot. So something that you think can be corrected, or you just sort of one of the believers in drive as fast as you can, don't worry about it, and you finish where you finish?
It's a bit disappointing to come second. I really thought I was going to have that one. But yeah, like you said, I think I've lost 3 races now because of time penalties. So
Yeah.
I definitely need to work on that. But congratulations to Doth. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a terribly easy track to go around 33 times without picking up a time penalty. So even to do that is a pretty good achievement. And then, like you said, I think pace-wise, you had them. The gap was about 2 seconds at the end there, and that 3-second penalty ended up costing you the victory by about a second. But if you can just knock those out of even just one of them. I mean, usually 1 3-second penalty isn't going to hurt you too much. Today it did because Doth just was pretty relentless hanging on to the back of you there. But it's the 6 seconds and stuff like that where it starts to hurt a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I think you've had a couple races where you picked up 6 and you get it down to 3, and then if you can get a few in there where you get it down to 0, like even maybe you don't win it, but you finish P2 without any penalties and stuff like that. So it's just little tiny building blocks, but I would say overall you've been having a really solid season so far because this is probably the third or fourth podium interview for you this year. So yeah, definitely a good season for you given some of the guys we've got in the field here. Like there's some guys that just by showing up pretty much have a podium in the bag. So yeah, well, as he proves, he's 1 for 1 so far. And well, obviously that's our cue. I'm getting the
one treat is not a forest to make, Fuzz.
Yeah, but Mr. Fuzz did the gentlemanly thing, stepping aside early in the season to allow some other drivers for full times, and was able to hop in tonight to a reserve seat filled in for Puff, who was suspended, and everyone's gonna be like, "What do you mean he's suspended? What happened?" But anyway. But Fuzz, obviously, how you feeling after that? I mean, you probably weren't expecting a podium, but that looked like a really good race.
I was expecting a win.
You said you had no practice. I was expecting a spin on the formation lap, but that was about it.
That was before I raced. I mean, after I raced,
Okay. Get some donuts.
Anyway, yeah. Okay. Serious note, I did not expect to get anywhere near the top 10 because everyone got in my head before the race saying, like, oh, Tier 1 has gone so competitive since you've gone, and, like, there's no way even qualifying top 10 and shit like that. So I was like, okay, I'll just do what I can and, take my 8th, 9th place or whatever I get, considering, like, 2 or 3 of the faster people haven't showed up today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a nice, pleasant surprise. And like Doth already mentioned, we were on lap like 25, 30 or something when we realized, oh shit, we might actually end up on the podium together. So that's when I was like, fuck, don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty, don't get a penalty.
Well, it obviously worked. You sort of willed it into existence because you managed to secure it. Obviously in a reserve position to snag a podium is pretty nice. I'm sure Camden's kind of be frustrated with that one. He got that puncture on the second last lap, and it just sort of robbed him of probably what was a podium, I feel. I think he had it. But, that puncture, it's the same thing happened to Scavney, too. Like, he ended up with a puncture trying to get those mediums to the end, and that's why he went off the track so suddenly there. So, yeah, a bit of an odd night. There were some questionable incidents out there that I think are definitely going to be looked at. Packer was forced to pit due to some clumsy driving, so it's unfortunate for him. He definitely had the pace to win the thing tonight and sort of just taken completely out of the picture because it's Spain and it's hard to overtake here, and an extra pit stop is pretty much going to ruin your night. So it all kind of fell in. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, all fell in place like you were about to say, and like I think I had DRS pretty much the entire second stint. That's like 30 laps or so, and I just literally had to just stay behind everyone and not make any mistakes essentially.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty much Packer's wing damage there. Sort of,
Yeah,
he sat there in front of you guys and kept you guys all close together, and then ended up being a pretty brilliant race towards the end because everybody was so close together. But yeah, having that DRS obviously helps you stay with the pack, and then things like time penalties can, even though the guy was Durny was the quickest guy there, or the top three, but just that time penalty and that huge train that you guys were stuck in for so long, he was never able to really stretch his legs out and get that win in the bag. So again,
yeah,
like everything sort of just fell into place in a way where a couple drivers didn't show up, and then Packer had some bad luck, and it was like, okay, all the fastest guys are out of the way. Now it's time for the all you guys are usually all scrapping in like that P6, 7, 8 area where you're all very tight together fighting for like a handful of points, and tonight ended up being for the victory. So it's good to
What
see
do you
that.
mean What do you mean the fastest guys didn't show up? Doth and I are here.
Oh,
We're on the
sorry.
podium.
Yeah, my bad. I misread
Oh,
that.
can I take this opportunity while I'm on the podium to present some stats for this season for Tier 1?
Does it have
So
something to do with your podium record so
it
far?
may be. We'll come to that conclusion later. So up until this race before Spain, Renault had 37 points in total. This race alone, Renault scored 40 uh, with our combined podiums.
So
I have scored
so
twice as
Puff's
many.
fired. Puff's fired.
I've scored twice as many points in one race as Puff Digital has in the first 11 races of the season.
That one's gonna
I'm not
sting.
I'm just not jumping to any conclusions. I'm just presenting facts. And yeah, and both times, last season and this season, the first race I have come back, I've gotten a podium, along with my teammate as well.
Wow,
So
that's
I
pretty
should just keep
impressive.
retiring and coming back.
Yeah, that's you're the Hulkenberg of the. I think someone called you that. It was Doth maybe called you Fuzz Hulkenberg
Yeah.
earlier
Yeah.
today. So
Dot said the dry run of Renault's podiums is going to continue. How about that though?
yeah, how about a double podium?
So
Yeah.
exactly, if you bet against yourself, you can't be disappointed because either you win your bet or you do what you wanted to do.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys, I'm ready to wrap it up. If anybody wants to present any more useless facts that no one cares about, feel free. If you have any questions for each other, feel free. Give you a minute or so. If not, we'll wrap it up.
No, I think I'm good.
Yep.
All right. Everybody's good. Durnia sounds like he's good.
Yep. So
All right.
Yep.
All right, we'll wrap it up, guys. That's it for round 12. Go ahead. You sound like you got something. You got something? No?
No, I don't have anything.
It sounded like Doth was saying something, unless he was talking to his cat or
nope.
something.
Good guy.
Yeah, get sounding like that. All right, that's it for round 12, Tier 1, Zenith Online Racing. We'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for Tier 2, taking on Spain. And then the EU tier will be taking on Spain as well. Sunday at 3 p.m. UK. 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK. I was like, wait a second, that's really early. But yeah, that's it for the night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this video on demand later on, you can hit that subscribe button, get the live notifications when we go live Monday nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday afternoons. We'll catch you next time, guys. Have a good night.